Big news this week as Israel announced that Hamas chief Yahya Sinwar was killed in occupied Gaza, the man they believe was the architect of the October 7th attacks. And as big as this headline is, and it's big, this is not the only attack Israel carried out this week that had the world watching, nor is it the only one that should be remembered. There is another name that should be burned in everyone's memory from this week, Shaban al-Dalu. Shaban al-Dalu was 19 years old, due to celebrate his 20th birthday just a few days after he was killed. He was a software engineering student who wasn't able to raise enough money to get his family out of occupied Gaza. Shaban was tethered to a bed by an IV drip at a Gaza hospital courtyard where displaced people were sheltering when an Israeli strike burned him alive as the world watched that video on Monday. We all saw the video of him burning alive. And as Israel's warmongering spreads across borders, you should also remember the Hijazi family who fled their home in the south of Lebanon only to have the building they thought to be a refuge in the north of the country bombed by Israel. At least 22 people were killed in that strike, where according to rescue workers, they found the body of a child, and later a small leg and other remains that they put together in a white bag. It is difficult to imagine what it must be like for people there, how one survives these moments of horror, the injustice of it all. What would it be like to feel that powerless, staring at the barrel of an Israeli soldier's gun or sensing the whistle of shrapnel from an Israeli airstrike? My next guest has experienced some of this and much worse. Since the start of the war, at least 31 members of his extended family in occupied Gaza have been killed, and the situation for those that remain, including his own father, is only getting worse. Israel's military campaign in the north of the Strip has led to an increase in bombardment, displacement, and mass starvation. On Thursday, an Israeli strike on an UNRWA school killed at least 19 people there, including, yes, children. To discuss all of this and more, I'm joined by acclaimed Palestinian poet and author of Forest of Noise, Mosab Abu Toha. To our subscribers at Zeteo, they know you, Mosab, from the poem that you recently wrote for us and delivered on camera, a beautiful, powerful poem. We appreciate you joining us on Mehdi Unfiltered.
Thank you, Mehdi. Really appreciate it.
Mosab, I've got to ask first question. How is your family doing in the north of Gaza?
Yeah, when I talk about my family, I talk about my father and 3 of my siblings with their children. The youngest of the children was 2 months old when this started. When I talk about my family, I can talk today about my aunt and her 3 children and her husband, who are now besieged by Israeli tanks and soldiers.
Oh,
just opposite a school where they were sheltering. So they thought the school was safe. It was bombed. Then they moved back to the house.
This is Northern Gaza?
Yes, this is in Jabalia camp. So I posted about this today, 3 hours ago, when I learned about that. And I posted about this on X, on Facebook, on Instagram, in the hope that someone would say, oh, we can try and do something. But nothing happened. So even though we are posting every single minute about what's happening to us, asking the world to come to our rescue, nothing is happening.
It's a genocide in plain sight. It's not hidden.
This is why I think we should think about a different word than genocide. It's well documented.
You are a former resident of occupied Gaza. You were detained in occupied Gaza. What was that like, getting out of Gaza? You were able to get out. Your father hasn't been able to. Your siblings haven't been able to. Your aunt hasn't been able to. You got out. You took a beating, but you got out. What was that like?
I mean, to be out of Gaza right now is to be uncertain about the safety and the well-being of your friends and family and students. To be out of Gaza means that you worry every single minute about your family, because you are not only away from them, you can't even reach out to them on the phone. So this aunt of mine and her children, we tried to call her on the phone, and there was no phone signal. So the kind of genocide that Israel is committing is not only about killing people and attacking hospitals and school shelters, but it's also making it impossible for people to reach out to each other, even those in Gaza itself. So if you are in the south, or even if you are in the same city, you can't even call your sister who is just a few blocks away to ask how she is doing if there is a bombing there. It is more than a genocide because you can't call an ambulance if you are stuck under the rubble of your house. So this is why I believe this is more than a genocide. I mean, other than that, it's been taken a year for the world to wake up, and they are not waking up, unfortunately.
Well, right now, the world is paying attention to what Israel is bragging about, having killed Hamas chief Yahya Sinwar on Thursday. What was your reaction to hearing that news? And do you think it'll change the course of the war in any way? Does it give you any hope that Israel may wrap up its genocidal operations anytime soon?
I don't believe that Israel was after Yahya Sinwar, because when they killed him, they did not know. This is what they say. They did not know that he was there.
Yeah.
I mean, they
checked dental and DNA records.
And you know, Mehdi, this is very important for everyone in the world to know. If Israel killed Yahya Sinwar, who they have been running after for about a year, if they killed him without knowing that, so just imagine how many people have been killed without Israel knowing, and maybe how many prisoners, Israeli hostages, have been killed without Israel knowing that they were inside. So it means that Israel is just doing the killing. They don't care who they are killing, how many people are killed, but they just want to keep killing and killing and killing, because this is how their state was created in 1948.
We're witnessing the early stages of what's being called in Israel the General's Plan. This is a plan put forward by retired Israeli General Giora Eiland, which is basically, they're very open about saying we're going to expel everyone from Northern Gaza. They're not going to be able to come back. Whoever stays behind, they get killed, and we use starvation as a weapon of war. Do you hold the United States as equally responsible for the starvation and what you call the slaughterhouse in the north of Gaza as you hold the Israelis?
Of course, I think the American administration is more responsible than the Israelis, because if the Israelis were not supported that much by the Americans, they won't be continuing to send more and more bombs on the heads of the people in Gaza. I mean, if I had an enemy and he was, at least, to some extent equal to me, I mean, I would keep attacking him for a few days, knowing that I would run out of weapons. But when I know that other people are sending more and more weapons, then even if I don't want to continue this, I feel like I have the ability to continue to do this, because this evil is in me. So the United States continuing to send more and more weapons, in some way, it tells the Israelis that you can continue to do this because we think what you are doing is rightful.
And what about the role of the American media? You have been one of the, I think we could say, privileged few Palestinian voices to actually have had a platform in the American mainstream media over the past year. You've written for The New Yorker, who supported you when you were being detained. What do you make of the American media's coverage as a whole of the Gaza genocide? What complicity does the American mainstream media have, do you think?
Well, the fact that we don't hear a lot of Gazans speaking on CNN and BBC and different outlets. We don't, I mean, the only people we are seeing on TV are some officials who are giving us some statistics, some statements, you know, condemning. But we don't get to hear the real people about whom they are talking. So that I've been trying to go on CNN and BBC, and I mean, there is no room for us to speak about our personal stories. I mean, I don't want to hear World Food Program or World Health Organization talking about me. I want to talk.
Yes.
So instead of hearing something about people in Gaza, you should hear from people in Gaza and what their dreams have been are around. There is another thing that I really feel agitated about, which is the fact that not a single American or European official came to visit Gaza since October 7th or even before. When October 7th happened, you got to see the American president visiting, Blinken multiple times, many officials. But how many did come to Gaza to see? I mean, even before October 7th, how many? And by the way, the United Nations warned of the horrible situation that will be in Gaza after 2020. They said that
it will be unlivable.
Exactly.
That date came and went.
I mean, my question is, Mehdi, what did the world do to make sure that this does not happen in Gaza? And what did they expect after 2020?
You wrote a very heartbreaking piece for The New Yorker last year that detailed your escape from Gaza. And you wrote, I have been joking with my family that my 31st birthday on November the 17th, we will have peace. When the day arrives, I'm embarrassed. I ask my mother, where is my cake? She says she will bake one when she moves back into our destroyed house. We're now nearing a second November the 17th, since October 7th, 2023, your second birthday during an ongoing genocide. How hopeful are you of ever having that cake with your family in your home in Gaza?
Well, my family is scattered now. My mother is in Qatar taking care of my ill sister. My father and three of my siblings are in the north. Another sister of mine is in the south. And one of my brothers made it to Egypt before Israel occupied and destroyed the Rafah border crossing. So my family is scattered right now, and I don't know whether people in the south could return and live in the north, and whether I could return to Gaza, because Israel is occupying I mean, they are not only
going
occupying
anywhere anytime soon.
So I don't know what exactly is going to happen in the next few months, even after a ceasefire, and whether this ceasefire will bring peace, because the reason behind the massacres and what's happening is Israel's occupation. They are doing this to the people in the West Bank. They are expanding. So it's not about October 7th. It's not about Sinwar,
Agreed.
because the occupation has been going on for decades.
Yes.
So as long as there is occupation, I believe there is no peace.
You published a video for us, for Zeteo, of a poem that you wrote to mark the 1 year of this war, of this genocide since October 2023. I want to play our viewers a short clip from that poem.
If we stay in our houses, they bomb us. If we shelter in a school, they bomb us. If we run to a hospital, they bomb us. If we move into a tent, they bomb us. If we go to a toilet, they bomb us. If we run from an airstrike, they bomb us. If we do not do any of this, they still bomb us. If we stay like a tree or temporarily leave like a leaf in the fall, they bomb us. But spring will come, and those who bomb us, will find no bombs among the flowers.
It's a very powerful poem, and we appreciate you writing it for us, and so do our subscribers and our followers. Just a few days ago, though, Mosab, you updated that poem. What was the update and why?
Yeah, I mean, for me as a poet, because the genocide never stopped to happen for the past year. So I feel like as a poet, I have to update my poems because there are new atrocities that are committed against my people. So in one of the sections of this poem that I wrote for Zeteo, so I said, a hand is no longer a hand if it doesn't find another hand to shake, if it doesn't have food, to share with others, if it's eaten by a dog. And this is something that I saw in a video. And now with the horror that happened on the the Al-Aqsa Martyrs Hospital 3 days ago, and the video of the boy, 19 years old, Shaban al-Dalu, burning in the fire, and I saw his hands, and they reminded me of the cover of my book, which shows a hand, and I thought, even this hand is no longer a hand if it's reaching out in the fire with no one trying to help him, because there is nothing there to help people survive the fire. There is no water even to drink. So just imagine if whether people have water even to put out the fire.
Deeply depressing, Mosab. I'm going to end by asking this question. As someone who's got family still in Gaza, who is still writing, still using art to get your message across, still coming on shows like this, how do you keep hope alive?
I see hope, to be honest, in the people outside of Gaza, in the people who are not resting until they say a ceasefire, and they are asking for the freedom of the Palestinian people, which is something that everyone in the world enjoy. They are not asking for big things. They are asking for the freedom of movement to the Palestinian people. So I see hope in these people. We don't have an army, We have the people in the outside world. This is where I see hope.
Mosab, thank you for your eloquence and for your art and your poetry. Thank you for being here today. We appreciate it.
Thank you, Mehdi. So glad to see you.
Did you like this video? Don't forget to subscribe to this YouTube channel and turn on notifications. For exclusive content and to support our independent, unfiltered journalism, head over to Zeteo.com. Your support matters.